Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Kayden Gordon Show, today's best country mix. And joining me right here is Antonio G. Charity. Hey, Antonio, how you doing today?
I'm doing fine, man. How are you?
Doing good myself. So thanks so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Appreciate the invitation.
Absolutely. No problem. So kind of tell us a little bit on how you got your start with your acting.
Wow. Um, yeah, so my start, well, if you let my family tell it, it's something I've always done. They've got stories about me standing on the kitchen countertop, singing Cool in the Gang or putting on shows when I was just a little kid. Church plays and doing poems and stuff that I don't even remember. So, so I'm sorry. So what I'd like to tell people is that I didn't get into acting. Acting got into me. It's always been there. I was in fifth grade when I did my first play at school, and I loved it. I loved the response that I got from people. So when I got to high school, I joined the drama club, and the rest is history.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. If you could act with anyone that you have not acted with, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a really good question, man. A lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people. Um, One person, I would say Sean Penn.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's one of those chameleons. He's one of several actors who I admire who have a wide range and do almost anything or virtually anything at all. So I would love the opportunity to work with somebody who can literally make you not remember who they are, but only see the character.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Penn from Fast Times at Ridgemont High is not Sean Penn from I Am Sam. I'm sorry, I got him confused with Cooper Gooding with I forgot the film when he played the guy who was mentally challenged.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the name of the film now, but it is I Am Sam. That's right, it was I Am Sam. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, for sure. What advice would you give someone that wants to start a career in acting or just doing acting in itself?
Wow. Well, the game has changed a lot since I first began to pursue this career. Now my advice to people would be to take lessons, of course, take classes wherever, whenever you can, as often as you can afford to, take acting classes. But even more than that, just create stuff. A lot of people are getting practice, a lot of opportunities to hone their craft and become better at it, and to get exposure and to market themselves by creating web series, by creating short films, and you can do this stuff on your cell phone now. You know,
Right. Mm-hmm.
those opportunities weren't around when I first started to pursue acting
Mm-hmm.
professionally, but now there's no excuse for anybody not creating something. When people say, "What have you done?"
Absolutely.
Let me see you. Let me see something. Everybody ought to have something to show. All you
Oh
need
yeah.
is
Oh yeah, you're totally right. For sure. Absolutely. What other TV shows or movies have you been in?
um. So right now I'm recurring on Danger Force. Most recently, what are the things I've done? I did a guest star on one episode of the new Marvel series, um, um, the uh, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've worked in a couple of independent films. Hopefully, you'll hear about them soon. With
Mm-hmm.
these projects, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll wind up on Amazon or Hulu or Netflix or someplace. Other times, you don't know what becomes of it. I recurred on say several series. I think most recently I worked on Bosch, Amazon series, and I was in Atlanta. I worked a lot. I'm living in Los Angeles. In 2019, before COVID, messed
Mm-hmm.
up in 2020, I went to Atlanta several times. In addition to the Marvel project, I worked on a series for BYU TV. It's a cable network and a streaming service, a series called Dwight and Shining Armor. I recurred on that as well. you can go to byutv.com and see that series. So yeah, mostly television guest stars, recurring roles, independent film. That's most of what I've done.
Absolutely, for sure. Where do you see yourself in the next like 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years, I see myself working as a series regular on somebody's television show, and I see myself working in not just independent films, but very well-financed major studio films. And I see myself relocating to the East Coast. Next, I'm from Virginia, small town, country boy, but I'm back to the East Coast sometime. Yeah, but 5 years from now, I'll be back on the East Coast.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I'm from the East Coast too, so it's pretty nice up here. For sure. If someone was gonna make a movie about you, who would play you?
Who would play me? That's a really I can't play me. If I could, I'd like to do it.
No, you cannot play you. Someone else has to.
Someone else. Trying to think of a name or a recognizable face. I'd say Cooper Gooding Jr. He'd probably make a good Antonio Charity.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. What is like one of the last things you do before you rehearse, or like after you rehearse, or before, or anything like that?
The last thing I do before I rehearse, I'm sure.
Yes, that was correct.
I don't know if it answers your question, but the rehearsal process for me never ends. And anything, in film, TV, in theater, I'm literally in my script the entire time, always looking for something new, always looking for something new, something in addition to. I never get to a place where, oh, I'm satisfied. This is it. I got this character locked in. I'm always going over my lines, trying to find a more interesting way to say it, a better way to communicate information to the audience. So the rehearsal process for me has no end. It just it's ongoing. It never stops for me, ever.
Absolutely, for sure.
Even when the project is over and done, I'm still looking at things I could have done differently. And I wish I had. I wish I thought about that. Yeah.
Things that you don't think of in the moment.
Say that again.
Things that you don't think of in the moment, right?
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely, for sure. Do you have any hobbies or interests that you do outside of acting?
Outside of acting, outside of the entertainment industry altogether, I like poetry. I've been writing poems since I was a kid. I like photography. I like to study history, American history, Black history, modern and ancient history. Yeah, I like all of history. I'm a UFO buff. I like reading about, watching videos and TV shows about unidentified flying objects, and all things weird, really. The X-Files kind of stuff. That stuff has always intrigued me. Within the industry, outside of acting, I recently began. Like maybe 3 or 4 years ago now, started writing, and so I've started a production company, and I've written a screenplay, and so I'm learning how to produce a film. So
that's great, for sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
More than a hobby, but it's something I'm learning to
do. For sure. Do you have an actor you look up to, and if so, why do you look up to them?
Quite a few. I mentioned Sean Penn earlier. Jeffrey Wright is another. Alfre Woodard is another. Anthony Hopkins. I like actors, again, who have range. What we call character actors, that's what I call acting. Becoming a character where you don't see the same thing all the time. And there's some leading men who are phenomenal actors, but who don't very often get an opportunity to show you a whole lot of range, a whole lot of variety. Some of those A-listers who do would be Brad Pitt, at least he used to. Johnny Depp for sure. Leonardo DiCaprio, and a couple of times Denzel. They've been able to deviate from the normal thing that audiences love to see about them, and get to do something different. So I admire actors who can again portray different characters, who look, talk, walk, speak differently, behave differently, and sometimes you can't even. identify who the actors are. You know, I recently saw, well, it's not recent, but I saw the Magnificent Seven, the one with Denzel Washington, and I didn't even recognize Vincent D'Onofrio. Didn't even know who he was. And waited until the movie was over and I read the credits. I was like, oh, wow. I literally didn't know who he was because he looked and sounded and behaved so differently than anything I'd ever seen him do before. And that's the kind of stuff that I really, really admire in actors.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Is there anything else they'd like to share with us today before we hop off?
Um, Nothing in particular. I just, you know, I'm grateful for all that I've been able to do in my career, and I'm hoping to do much, much, much more. As I said earlier, I started a production company. If you want to keep up with what I'm doing, it's called Charity Works Entertainment. Charity Works Entertainment. Go to my website, charityworksentertainment.com, to see what the latest is with that. And tune in to Danger Force. Keep an eye open for me on any of the other things that I may be working on.
Absolutely. I just want to say a huge thank you to Antonio Charity for joining us right here on the King Gordon Show, today's Best Country Mix. We appreciate you and your time, Antonio.
Thank you. I appreciate the time with you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.